Perfect.
Got it. Okay, there we go.
All right, let's take it away. I'm Sully. You already know that. My DJ name is DJ Punky. So
Punky. I like that.
Yeah, my parents used to call me Punky when I was little, and so I thought that was a good DJ name.
You're gonna have it for the rest of your life.
Yep. So yeah, this is my summertime co-host Trevor, who you've already talked to a little bit. Trevor, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Trevor. I'm DJ Grilt Cheez.
I like that. You guys got good DJ names, man. Good. I don't have a DJ name. I'm gonna think of one. I'm gonna think of one during the show, okay?
There you go. That works.
Let's try.
So how long, you touched on it a little bit earlier, but how long in general have you played music?
Well, I guess since 1984 is when I sort of tried out for this band. And it was Mike and David Connell and a friend of mine who was like a childhood friend, named John Schultz, who was playing drums. So I guess since 1984, but I mean, I we didn't really play out for a while, maybe until 1980, probably not until the fall of 84. But we spent a lot of time rehearsing. We had about seven. Mike had written about 7 or 8 songs. And they were all numbered. We didn't have any titles. We were afraid to title them. I don't know what was going on. We didn't have a name yet either. So all the songs were number 1, number 2, number 3. Like the set list was numbers. It's just bizarre. Anyways. So yeah, since how many years ago? It was 1984, 85. That's how long it's been. It's been a long time.
Well, I'm a second generation Connells fan, so.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's okay. That's great. Yeah.
My mom always loved y'all, so that's exciting. I listened to y'all when I was growing up, and then we both go to your concerts now, so that's exciting.
And that was when you grew up in Charleston, or?
Yes, Columbia? Correct.
So you must have come to like the Music Farm, maybe, or?
I did not make it to that show. My mom went to that show though, because I was already in college by the time that y'all were coming to the Music Farm. But we would listen to y'all CDs and stuff in the car.
Oh, cool, man. Tell your mom thank you for listening and keeping it going and down the generation. That's great.
She always gets really excited because I guess most of her friends, their kids don't like the music they listen to, but we always get along on it.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So, what are your personal favorite of your songs? And are there any that are like the most fun live, or the ones you would
that's
live?
If I'm going to be honest with you, usually the songs that I like the best are the ones that are the most recent, like the newest songs. That's kind of normal. I mean, everybody's like that. So anything on this new record we have we're still in we're playing a good number of them out live, but I mean, there's still a few more we could play just to have something a little bit different. But I mean, there's like the song 74, 75, which I don't know if you know the story about that. It's a long story, but we ended up traveling a lot in Europe because it was a song that it did well on radio in Europe. It was like in the top 10. It was crazy. Anyways, I would think that after playing that song and lip syncing that song on like TV and stuff, that I would be tired of it. But I have never gotten tired of that song. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just because it's not that. Maybe it's not hard to sing because it's kind of a ballad. Maybe that has something to do with it. The ones that are hard to sing, I always find myself kind of getting tired of doing because they're like high notes in it.
Yeah, I always see singers and I'm like, I don't know how you do it because I would be out of breath and then you also have to sing.
Oh, I know. Well, I guess the reason I was a swim coach when I came back to Raleigh was because I swam growing up and I swam in college. So I thought I could probably do this because I have lung capacity. And I think it did help. But you really, I've had times when at the end of the set, we're going to play something like it's kind of fast and kind of like a closer, and I'll look at Mike. So I'm like, can we just skip over this one and we'll come back and do it later? Because I'm like sitting there, like you said, it does take a lot of air, but you figure out how to do it. It's not as hard as swimming or anything like that. But anyways, you got any other?
Sorry? What was that?
I was like, whose turn is it?
Oh, yeah. So could you tell us a little bit more about y'all's new album?
Yeah, it's called Steadman's Wake, and we had recorded an album in the year 2000 that was called Old School Dropouts, and some of the songs that were on that record showed up on this record because when we recorded that last record 20 years ago, we recorded the demos on I don't know if you guys are familiar with the old 4-track recording devices that people use for demos now, but it's like a cassette tape. They're like a little bit bigger than a phone, maybe twice as big as a phone, but it's like 4 tracks, and you can bounce stuff and you can make some pretty cool sounding demos. Well, our record label, we'd been fighting with them for a long time, so they said forget it. They dropped us. So we just took those demos and worked on them and mixed them and did stuff to them and released that as the record. But some of those songs on that album, I think David was really instrumental in this. He was like, we need to give those songs a fair shake, record them properly. So that's some of what we did on this new album. And then there's several newish songs. But like a lot of people ask us, like, why'd you wait 20 years to make an album? And it's like, yeah, I don't know. We don't really know. We didn't quit. We didn't break up or anything. We've still been playing some, but people got busy, with family and stuff like that and other kinds of jobs. So, but I'm glad we did it because people seem to like it, and I like it. And we took our time recording it. We didn't have anybody, with a record label. Sometimes it's good to have somebody supporting you, but they're also like breathing down your neck and giving you deadlines. And then you end up doing stuff that you wish you could do over, like fix. And that was not the case this time. So that's a good feeling.
I really like the new album. I've been listening to it a lot.
Oh, thank you. Oh man, that's coming from a second generation fan. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. So we probably played some of those songs when you guys were there in April, was it?
You did. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. So yeah, we were supposed to go to Florida the following weekend and play some shows like in Jacksonville and Tampa, but we were going, once we realized everybody was sick, we weren't going anywhere. So we're going to go there in a couple of weeks, make those. We've had to cancel. We've had to postpone a few shows because of COVID. But anyways, you probably have more questions. I'm just rambling.
Well, I know you guys tour a lot around North and South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, like Southeast kind of. So would you be willing to tell me about some of your favorite shows? What makes a show the most fun for you guys? You don't have to be biased towards the ones that I've been at, just whichever you actually like.
Favorite shows. We back in maybe around when that record was called Boiling Heights or Fun and Games, those records came out, we started seeing we were playing in bigger venues like in Chicago and Salt Lake. So we were playing in cities where we were getting some airplay, and it was like clearly a different sort of thing because there's more people. We're playing in bigger venues and more people were showing up. And but some of the wildest things that happened were when we were touring in Europe in the 1990s. We had, I'll just tell you the story. So we had a record called Ring that came out in 1993, I think. I'm not good with dates, but and we did the thing where we toured like throughout this U.S. Got in the van and toured, and we liked that record, but like it just kind of felt like things didn't move ahead. You know what I mean? We kind of maybe got some more radio play and stuff, but not. I don't know. We thought it was going to do better than that. And so we started thinking about our next record. And then we started our manager had an office where he had a fax machine. Started getting faxes from these record label in Germany, in Stuttgart, Germany. This is like 1994, I think, 95. Showing our, like, we're number 7 on this radio chart in some part of Germany. And I'm like, this is somebody messing with us. This isn't real. I didn't believe it. I thought it was a joke, We kept getting these faxes and they kept calling. They were like, you got to come over and play. So we stopped what we were doing and just like started touring in Europe because we had this one song that was getting played on the radio, like all over. It was all over, what they refer to as Western Europe, like Holland and France and Germany and Belgium and Austria, all over there. And also the video. I mean, I walked into a hotel room one time, I turned the TV on, our video was on. I was like, man, this is really happening. So anyways, we played a show in Rome at the Vatican. They used to have a show they do every year. They televise it live. And we just played the song 74, 75 for that show. And Def Leppard was on the bill. And it was like, what are we doing here? And that was like fun, but it was very nerve wracking. You know what I mean? Like, because we had to go up there and play one song. And then we got up there and it's all live TV. And the guy was like, we're not ready for you. And we're just standing there. We found out later, there's like over 100,000 people there. I couldn't tell because it was like within the buildings and the hall, like the streets and the cobblestone streets and everything. We found out later, it was like a lot. If I knew there was that many people there, I'd have probably freaked out. So yeah, Steve, our keyboard player, started playing that Tom Waits song, and him and I did a Tom Waits song while waiting for the TV guys to be ready for it. But that's a real standout. That one always pops into my head. It's like, as a kind of standout sort of performance because it was so bizarre. And then the guys from Def Leppard came out and they kind of I think they were lip syncing. Maybe they had like mime to the music and had live vocals, but what a trip, huh? Anyways, so bizarre.
Well, what makes you guys different from other bands? Obviously, y'all have been together for a really long time. How have you managed to stay together over the years? A lot of bands break up. It's a very common.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Plus, we got 2 brothers.
Yeah, right.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, that is a good question. People have, there have been times when people have like left, but then, and you don't want somebody to quit your band in the middle of a tour because you need them to be available for the shows. So you just got to talk them back into coming. You got to talk them into coming back. But usually somebody who's like saying, I'm done with this, they'll come back. But so somehow we haven't, but outside of like just people kind of getting fed up. I mean, it's easy to have that happen when you're on tour. You go out for like a month. And that's, you really you get a feel for how much a person can take when they get into a van with a bunch of other people for a month. You know what I mean? Because there's so many things like, really sleep that well. The food's no good, But I don't know. I don't know how we did it because I know a lot of bands that I wish hadn't broken up did, and friends of mine and other groups. But I know that happens. And then like, I'll tell you a funny story regarding the brothers. We had a bus driver in Europe he was from Birmingham. He was from Northern England, I think. Is that right? Yeah. And he somehow they decided we were going to have to get a bigger bus. Like we were so psyched to have like a tour bus, And it was the double-decker buses in London. It was one of those, but it was renovated into like a tour bus for bands. So the upstairs part was where the bunks were, the bed where the sleeping was. So we got dropped off somewhere at the hotel, and then this guy pulled up, and he was really nice. And I was talking to him, and all of a sudden we're talking, and all of a sudden he like starts cussing. I can't do it because this is going to be on the air, right? But he's like, God, and I'm like, what did I say? What's wrong? What had happened is he had seen Mike and David. They look alike, they're brothers. Come behind me, and he goes, "I just came off 2 months with Oasis." Because like he was getting ready to quit because he couldn't take it. I was like, "Oh, they're not that bad. They'll be all right," But he saw these two guys that looked alike and were kind of bickering each other, and I was like, "Oh no, what are the chances of that?" So yeah, they broke up. We're still doing it, but yeah, that's a good question. It's hard. It's really hard. You have people with different lifestyles and different people sleep different. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's hard to. It's tight quarters, and then you go to wherever you're playing, and then there's a small dress. It's like you're just kind of always together, so people can get on each other's nerves. But it's not that bad. It's kind of fun for the most part. Can't think of any other good stories for you, though.
I like those.
Yeah, I like that Oasis story because he was really. I mean, I thought he was maybe joking, but he seemed genuinely mad. Like, no way! Like, I can't believe this. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, those guys. Yeah. No, they're okay. They're not as bad as the other guys. Anyways.
Yeah, so I noticed your corrosion of conformity hat. I really I like them. Like, what's your favorite like genre of music to listen to?
They are a Raleigh band. Mm-hmm. So they've been at it for longer than we have. Mm-hmm. They've been at it for probably more like 40 years.
Oh wow!
And I knew Reed. I kind of knew Reed, but I mean, unfortunately he passed away. But he gave me this hat, and I thought it was one of those ones that was a misprint because it's on here and here. You were like wearing it, but yeah, they're really good, and they're really nice guys, and it's like it's kind of cool to have like different. We have Raleigh has a good sort of mix of obviously a good mix of genres, I guess. We play more like pop, and I remember once we were in London playing somewhere. I can't remember the name of the place, but anyways, in one of the magazines, either like the Melody Maker or the NME, they list all the live music for like that upcoming week, and the way they list it is alphabetically by the bands. So I was looking down, and I saw COC, and then the next band was the Connells. I was like, that's pretty cool. But yeah, you like that. I mean, these guys were they were the band called No Labels. They were some of these guys played in it. Bands and scenes have kind of people who work jump into other, but they call it an incestuous scene, and that's kind of what Raleigh is. But anyways, yeah, that's cool. They're really good. They like I said, they're responsible for a lot of things happening in Raleigh as far as what people would call hardcore, I guess, but it's rock music, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to have a metal specialty show, and I played a lot of like local and regional bands and stuff like that.
Yeah. So did you get into like Minor Threat and that kind of stuff as well?
Mm-hmm, definitely. Yeah, I really like them.
Yeah, a guy that a friend of mine who's a former roommate was very involved with the scene at that time, and he sent me something recently, like a compilation of it's an old compilation of hardcore bands from all over the country. I can't remember the name of it, but his band is on it. I don't know if COC's on it though. Mm-hmm. But what time of the night did you have that show?
I think it was like 6 to 8 on like Thursdays or something.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's a good time. Mm-hmm. The college station at NC State in Raleigh for a long time was really more of a hard rock, like a metal kind of hard rock station. It wasn't like your standard sort of college radio format that you think of, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But they still have like specialty shows. Anyways, so I like that station.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Any other questions? I'm trying to think of questions for you.
Yeah, we only really have one more question for you.
Okay.
Just like what's next for y'all?
Well, what is next? We have I think we're coming to see you guys. We're going to Columbia. I mean Charlotte.
We'll be there.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Yeah, make sure. I can't remember the exact dates. Maybe you know the date. I don't know the date.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but
Winston-Salem and Charlotte. That's like the weekend of the. I can't remember now. I think it's July. But
that sounds right.
Is that why?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think that's right. And then the show, we were supposed to go to Jacksonville and Tampa after we saw you guys last time, but now we're going to go there in about 2 weeks. But like as far as anything else, yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I think outside of just playing, I think people are starting to try to write some more songs because I mean, we like this record we made and we'd like to keep recording some songs. I don't know if we'll make another record. You don't really have to make a record anymore, do you? You can just write songs and record them and release them, right? That's what people do now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm clueless. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it doesn't seem that different to me except for that part of it. But yeah, we'd like to do that. I don't, we'd have to have a meeting. We'd have to have a meeting, decide what to decide about that. Maybe we should do a tour of COC. That'd be awesome. We get all types of people out.
That would be.
It would
fun.
be like the time that we opened for the well, at the time he was called Notorious B.I.G. Can you imagine that? We opened for Piggy. I don't think we were supposed to open for him, but he was late. So we ended up playing before him in that audience. It was on a campus in University of Connecticut outside, and those people threw everything at us. they didn't want. I can't blame them. I wouldn't want it. If I wanted to see, Biggie, I'd want to see Biggie, but whew, that was rough. I mean, I looked at people, and they were just so pissed off. They were screaming, and I'm like, "What? We'll be done in a minute." Just throwing shit. It was funny. Anyways, I shouldn't talk about that. But he was great. He was cool. Trying to think of anything else. So the show in Charlotte is probably the 20. I should know this, shouldn't I? Charlotte's not far at all from Columbia, right?
No, not at all.
How far is it? An hour or so?
An hour-ish.
Yeah, like about an hour and a half.
Okay. That's good. I can't remember where we're playing in Charlotte. Golly, I should know these things before doing interviews, huh? Oh, man. Yeah. I really can't think of the name of the club, but yeah, that's kind of what we're doing. I mean, I think I had told you before, we had lined up some dates to play in New York and Philadelphia, and we had to reschedule those shows three times. I mean, every time, it started getting closer, we were like, this is going to happen, which is fine. I'd rather not do it and have to worry about it. But so we were sort of like, it just took a while to get there. But when we got there, it was fun. I'm trying to think if there's, I don't know. You guys got any other questions? I'm sorry. I'm kind of drawing a blank.
We're good. Thank you so much for doing this. It was great
no.
to meet you and talk to you, and I'm very much looking forward to the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, why don't I meet you when you guys come to Charlotte? We can hang out and talk.
Okay,
'Cause I want
we'd
to
love
talk.
to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I'll talk to Trevor. I'll talk to you more about CSC and that stuff, and I'll maybe try to think of some bands that, because like I said, my buddy sent me this. It looks like a collection of bands from like very early 80s, but not necessarily from Raleigh, but more hardcore type bands. And Michigan, you know what I mean? Like there are pockets all over the country. That's, that's a lot of the touring that we did probably followed the path that those guys, initially carved out. So I'd like to talk to you about that.
Thank you so
I
much.
feel like I'm sitting here like spacing out.
This was great. Thank you.
No,
Yeah,
thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you listening, because I honestly didn't think I'd still be doing this now and have the next generation. Awesome. Thank you very much.
We're glad y'all are still in it.
I know. I'm trying.
Sure.
We're trying. I'm losing my breath. I can't breathe. All right. We'll see you in July.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks again, you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.